We're going to have Tom Ruminski from the Score, the editor of Score Baseball, in just a couple of seconds here. And, I was just thinking that it is possible that Robbie Ray, more than possible that he's not going to be here, Simeon, but, every team needs a guy with tight pants. And I was looking at the mirror last night and I'm starting to look, not bad. So I put on some tight pants and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe Shatkins will have a look at this guy and go, you know what? We think we're going to lose a tight pant guy. This is perfect timing. And I said, I know. Look how I look. I got a heater that's, about 45, 47 miles per hour. It's in there somewhere. So not easy to hit. Let me tell you. You think it's easy? And the distraction of the tight pants, especially tight in certain areas where you just really wouldn't think they'd be that tight. Yeah. Strike 3, says the umpire. Well, it's a dream, isn't it, Tom? Is it true there could be room for a tight-panted man?
Yeah, there could be, but I don't think his name is going to be Robbie Ray there, Mike.
No, I don't think so either.
First and foremost, always a pleasure chatting with you guys in the morning. And it does look like the writing is on the wall that Robbie Ray, who is now the reigning American League Cy Young winner, will not be back with the Blue Jays next season. What I'm seeing specifically is the team is looking for a mid to high tier starting pitcher. They've reportedly gone after Eduardo Rodriguez, who ultimately signed a multi-year deal with Detroit Tigers. They were also in on Noah Syndergaard, a former Blue Jays prospect who famously was traded to the New York Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal. He ended up joining the Los Angeles Angels. And then a lot of rumblings that the Jays were certainly in on Justin Verlander, two-time Cy Young winner. He could have fit into those tight pants really nicely, but he ended up going back to the Houston Astros on a 1-year, $25 million deal. He hasn't pitched in the majors in like a year and a half, just like Syndergaard, also coming off Tommy John surgery. But I think the writing is on the wall that Toronto doesn't want to dish out anywhere from $125 million to $150 million to retain Robbie Ray. They simply think that they can just find another starter to replace him, and he might not win Cy Young, but he's going to at least be effective and keep the Blue Jays competitive with a really nice starting rotation.
Kind of curious, Tom, with the signing and the multi-year signing, 7-year deal on Barrios, if you're looking at, and let's just say the money's equal, which it probably isn't, but that's okay. If you're looking at, Tom, you have the option of Barrios for 7 years or Robbie Ray for 7 years, but you can't have both. In my opinion, I think the Jays picked the right guy. I really do. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so as well. Barrios, and the thing about him, it feels like he's been around forever, but last season was only his age 27 campaign. Already a two-time All-Star, incredibly durable. The guy simply doesn't miss any time with injuries. I'm going to knock on wood right now because, that'd be awful right after a massive contract extension for something to happen. Who knows? Baseball is weird. But Barrios, excellent fielder as well. He was nominated for a Gold Glove this year. The thing about him is I don't think he's truly peaked yet. I think that right now he's already a very good number 2. But he certainly has ace potential, especially working with a guy like Pete Walker, who turned Robbie Ray into a guy that simply, always had the swing and miss stuff, but couldn't really control it and had an ERA over 6 in 2020 to now a Cy Young winner. So I think the sky is the limit for Barrios, even though he's already an excellent pitcher. And hey, I mean, if the Jays don't land anybody in the offseason, I mean, for Barrios to be your number 1, your opening day guy heading into next season is, I mean, in terms of a floor, that's probably one of the best floors I've seen in a while with this ball club. And they might already have on paper the best starting rotation in the American League East, even if they don't do anything, but they will do something. So
sure.
Well, and now over the years, the teams that always seem to do well are those that are deep in their farm, right? That they are home developed, and I'm just wondering, when you take a look at what exists now for the Jays, is there any depth down there? Because obviously, if you can develop your own guys, even from a financial standpoint, it's better having them come up through your own system than having to pay as the these hundreds of millions of dollars to guys that you literally have to go to free agency for? Are they very deep in the farm?
It's, to be honest, not really on position players, or excuse me, on starting pitchers. They do have good position players coming up. Jordan Groshans, of course, a former first rounder from a few years ago. Gabriel Moreno might be the best catching prospect outside of Adley Rutschman in all of baseball, and his development is allowing the team to explore trading guys like Danny Jansen. I know a lot of Blue Jays fans don't want to hear this, but Alejandro Kirk could certainly be moved during the offseason for a viable starting pitching option. But in terms of the pitchers, with the graduation of Alec Manoa last season, and we know that he's a very effective starter now, was right up there in Rookie of the Year voting. And then the other big guy, Simeon Woods Richardson, he was dealt to the Twins in the Barrios trade at the deadline last offseason. So I don't think you can really depend on any internal options that are going to be coming up and helping this team, because they already have a bunch of guys who are more than capable in the majors. And another guy to look at, of course, is Nate Pearson. Is he finally going to be able to stay healthy and assert himself as a guy that can grab a rotation spot and run with it? I definitely think he's going to be given every opportunity in spring training. It's just a matter of if this guy is finally going to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah. You talked about adding an additional pitcher. We went through the lineup of players that they just kind of missed out on. Who do you think they're targeting right now if you're in their position and you want to add some depth to that starting five?
Yeah, see, I think for me, it was very clear that we're looking for a mid to high tier guy. Players that are still left in that category, I would say maybe a Carlos Rodon, who's coming off a very good season, but has always had question marks surrounding health. He is a Scott Boras client, so that's not going to come cheap. Although we've seen that the Jays do have a good relationship with Scott Boras now, based on what happened with Hyun-Jin Ryu, and in addition to that, I think that there are a few other guys on the board there, but I think Rodon is one that they definitely have to consider. Kevin Gossman is another name that they've been almost obsessed with for years. Before he took the Giants qualifying offer last year, the Jays reportedly made him a multi-year pact. And then if you want to go in terms of the trade options, you got to look at the Miami Marlins. Like I said, Alejandro Kirk, he's a guy that would fit with the Marlins because they need a backstop. So a key name to watch there is Pablo Lopez, a great right-handed arm who's under control for years. And then you got to look at the Oakland Athletics, because they are about to go full scorched earth. There's going to be a big fire sale there. And
they always do this. They always do this.
Billy Bean, Moneyball, right? Like,
I know.
It's a vicious cycle. But if you're looking at starters there, left-hander Sean Manaea, right-hander Chris Bassett, and right-hander Frankie Montez, they're ripe for the picking. And it just all depends what the team feels comfortable dealing with, obviously, right? So
well, it's nice to have a great relationship with Boras, because he's a great guy. Yeah, you guys don't know, he's a fantastic guy. I also see that Charlie Montoya finished 4th for the American League Manager of the Year, which has caused on Twitter some sarcastic remarks by some, including Montoya got 3 first-place votes in there, and some people are like, how'd that happen? Is there still a little slight cloud over what we believe to be Charlie Montoya as his ability to manage this team? Is he still kind of in circles? Is it 50-50? Are we still not buying that he is the guy for this team?
Well, I mean, if you want to look at voting for AL Manager of the Year, he was a finalist in 2020 and finished top 5 this year. So, I mean, just based on that alone, it would suggest that he's a great skipper. There are obviously things in a long season that are uncontrollable. I'm sure Charlie Montoya never imagined having to use the scraps coming out of the bullpen last year. I think that he's going to get at least one more season. He seems to have a great rapport with a lot of the players, especially the Latin players. And actually, very interesting to note that Barrios ended up signing that extension because reportedly he's got a great relationship with Montoya, and that basically flourished over 2 months. Both of them hail from Puerto Rico. So I mean, you can almost say that Montoya was a major factor in this guy taking a leap after only being with the Jays for 2 months. So I think that you give him at least another year, probably more than that. Even if the Blue Jays fail to make the playoffs, but they're still competitive, you gotta trust your guy. And I think the clubhouse likes him, the management likes him, and let's roll with Charlie for at least 1 to 2 more years before any drastic moves here.
Yeah. Can you take him to the finish line, though? Tommy, can you take him to I'm just saying. Final question for me, because I know we're running out of time here quickly. Where do you think our destination cities are for Marcus Semien and Robbie Ray? I know Toronto's still in the mix, but, I don't think that's going to happen. So where will it happen?
Okay, so I actually think that the Blue Jays are going to take a major run at Marcus Semien. I think if you look at the two guys, Semien plays basically every single day. He's incredibly healthy as well. Is coming off winning a Gold Glove, setting an MLB record for 45 home runs for a second baseman. I think the Blue Jays' strategy is in terms of replacing Ray with a guy who's in the mid to high tier that isn't really gonna demand as much money as him. That strategy has been put in place to basically make a big run at Semien. I think that's what you're going to see. He brings incredible value on and off the field. If that's not going to happen, the Seattle Mariners have been rumored to be contemplating a major run at Semien, and they do want him to play second base as well. That's an interesting point as well. Is does Semien want to go back to being a shortstop, or is he okay with being a second baseman moving forward? Outside of that, the San Francisco Giants, I think, are going to be a major player. They had Buster Posey coming off the books. He retired surprisingly. Semien is from the Bay Area, played many years in Oakland. So that's a team you certainly have to look at. And then,
interesting.
And then for Robbie Ray, I'm going to again go back to the Seattle Mariners. They had a surprisingly good season. I think they're ready to spend a lot of money. They reportedly have a lot of money to spend. I think they kind of see Robbie Ray as maybe a Randy Johnson type, big strikeout numbers. Randy Johnson, he ended up winning his first Cy Young after the age of 30. Robbie Ray won his first Cy Young at the age of 29. I think there's some loose comparisons there. It just screams Seattle Mariners to give like $150 million to a guy who basically just is coming off a career season and hasn't really come close to ever being like that during his career.
Ray's going to be 8-8 next year with a 4.5 ERA.
it just screams Mariners. Their front office there, they've definitely made all or nothing moves like that before. So those are going to be my picks. But I'm saying it now. Do not be surprised one bit if Marcus Semien within the next 2 weeks ends up remaining with the Blue Jays.
Oh.
And I say this
you leave on a shocker, like a soap opera. Wow.
I'm just saying this because the apocalypse is coming. The CBA is expiring, and word on the street is that Scott Boras wants his guys to sign before the great unknown is going to hit. So,
wow, I'm almost scared here. What if it ends up being his evil twin that we don't know about? I mean, what the hell's going on now? Ruminski scaring the hell out of us. Wow, that is a big finish. We appreciate that. That's why he's on the show. That's a cliffhanger.
Tune in next week.
Tom, great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for this morning. I'm sure we'll talk again real soon.
Always, guys. Take care, eh?
Tom Ruminski from The Score, one of our great baseball guys, and always a lot of fun when we get a chance to catch up. And that was a bit of a cliffhanger at the end. Wouldn't that be something? Or
well,
maybe
we'll have him back no matter where Simeon signs.
or maybe
Yo.
Tom's drunk.
Yes.
It is 8:55.